What is good, ladies and gentlemen? What is good? It is Monday night. It is June 29th, and we are back. That's right. It's your boy Cheats here. This is the Black Baseball Mixtape podcast. I've got illustrious guests all over the building, and of course, our loyal and faithful podcast crew tonight. Shout out to our partners, the Players Alliance, Minority Prospects, Numbers Game Scorecards. We are going to talk all things as we close in to the end of what would be the first half of the season. We are we're a day away from July, which means we are several days away from, All-Star Game 2026, which is going to be in Philadelphia, kind of the ceremonial and figurative end of the first half of the season. And we've got a lot to talk about if the playoffs started today. And we're going to discuss all of that with none other than my right-hand man in the booth, the host with the most, Flobo boys. And a loyal, dedicated Mets fan.
Yeah.
Still to this day, a loyal, dedicated Mets fan.
Yeah,
Flobo
like
boys,
that.
how are you feeling? And while you're at it, you can elaborate and tell us, Carlos Mendoza got, is this a good thing, bad thing? What's happening here? You let us know.
Yeah, I've always feel like the worst person to talk about this because I actually try to find the optimism in things. The season hasn't been good. A lot of choices that were made by the front office did not work out. The sad part is, on paper, they look like a stronger team, but the stronger team blew up in their face. Carlos Mendoza loses his job. Obviously, you ask everyone around, they say he is the least culpable, was the phrase I heard a lot that week. That team, especially in April and May, were statistically bad on a level that no one gets cold at the same time. It's almost like there must be something in the air or water. I still feel like there's a small path to somehow be a better team, but the whole playoff dream is going up in smoke, my man. It's kind of rough to see.
I hear you. Have you given any thought at all, or is it just premature about who the next manager of the Mets will be? I will tell you, I've heard some really interesting names. I heard, of course, everybody here, every time there's a job opening, you hear Albert Pujols' name. I've already heard Albert Pujols' name. I've heard Carlos Beltran's name. I've heard, obviously, the interim manager now. Does he keep the job if they turn things around? Word on the conventional wisdom says he keeps the job till the end of the year, no matter how bad they are, and then they hire a new in the offseason. But is there a preferred person? The other guy I heard was David. Is it David Ross?
David Ross,
yeah, David Ross. I've heard his name. So, is there a preferred future manager in your mind for the New York Mets?
Pujols?
No.
Pujols already?
No. I mean, people say,
Carlos Beltran, David Ross could be the current interim manager. I don't know his name. Forgive me.
Yeah, I think David Ross would be a safe choice. If it was up to me, if I was a front office, which I'm not, I'll probably see what Alex Cora is doing right now.
That's another name
for next year. Yeah,
I'm about to say he said he's out.
Yeah.
So next year.
For sure. But David Ross seems to be the safe choice and one that a guy actually wants to take the manager role, which is something that's good for him. I don't really buy into the Beltran thing. I never have. I don't think that's the right fit just because he's a guy that used to be around the team. We just need somebody with years of experience. And I think that's the balance we need. I think that's why they got the interim manager as it is right now, because Kai Correa was on the bench and they didn't upgrade him to be the manager. It was a very concerted effort to go with more experienced hands. So, not a fan of the pool hole. Give him a job because he is the DR coach. It's not enough. Of actual
I will say this to Pujols' credit, and I learned this immensely during the World Baseball Classic. That dude has won everywhere he's gone. So he wins in the Dominican League. He won in the World Baseball Classic to an extent, obviously, and it just seems like that guy is a winner as a manager. He's very meticulous. He's he's got his little scorecard every game. He's working it. It. I don't know if he's the right fit for New York, especially with this project. This project is going to be a massive overhaul. I do not. Here's what I think really quick, and I know we're still doing introductions. I just don't think, based off of the team that the Mets have, where going into the year I thought they were going to be a lot better. when you see them play, you're like, God, they're not close. That's the thing. It's not like the Phillies where it was like, they're right there. They're playing bad. They make a couple tweaks. They're playing better. They just don't seem close to success.
Right. And so I know we're doing introductions, so I'll make this quick.
Yeah,
I understand that. If this is another dimension, I'm not saying Pujols can't do the job. But if you look at the Mets teams from now, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, something is there institutionally that's not working. We've seen too many coaching staffs. We've seen too many front offices, multiple owners. Everything has been swapped out, but it has not worked. That is, as it is an enviable position to put any new MLB level coach in. I think Pujols deserves better to get reps in. That's what I'm saying. He needs somebody to have a couple more experience.
Yeah, I feel like Pujols, a guy like Pujols and Beltran both, they almost need like, I hate to change sports, but they need like a Mike Brown situation where the Knicks were there, but not over the hump, right? And then they come in, Knicks, take Thibodeau out, who made the Eastern Conference Finals, put Mike Brown in, Knicks win the championship. So this is not the play, because obviously Don Mattingly has done something right in Philadelphia, but I think he needs I think the Beltrons and the Pujols of the world need a scenario like that, where it's like a team that is a veteran squad that's about to get over the hump, and then like that type of player voice comes in, you know what I mean? And gets him there. I just don't see, so for example, I don't think those guys would do well in San Francisco right now. Like a program where I feel like they got a lot of young kids and they need to
Pujols to Arizona, baby.
Like they need to rehaul the whole thing, right?
Cheats, let me say something real quick about Don.
Yeah,
real quick.
I'm sorry, Lewis Brinson, ladies and gentlemen. My bad.
No, you're good.
Lewis Brinson, what's going on, Brinson?
My bad, guys.
No, you guys are good. No, real quick about Don Mattingly's situation in Philadelphia. Obviously, he was my manager in Miami. He got thrown into a weird situation, rebuild situation. He just traded everybody. He did well with he meshes well with veterans. Like, I'm just being honest about it. He is a veterans manager. He's an old school guy. He likes to let guys kind of do their thing. Obviously, Donnie Baseball was the best hitter on the Yankees back then. So, like, he was more so, not that he can't mesh with young guys, because he helped me out. He fought for me a lot when I was struggling. Like, love Donnie. But Donnie is more so a veterans manager, and the Phillies are obviously all of veterans except for Justin Crawford in center field and a couple young guys sprinkled in. It's all vets. But I'm saying for the Mets, you have some veteran guys, but you do have some Carson Benjes. You have the Ewings. You have like younger guys on their way up, the younger pitching staff. Yeah, so like you have to get a players manager, like a younger players manager, if you will, for that type of ball club. So Alex Cora, like you said, he had a young squad in Boston. It seemed like he meshed with those guys. I don't know if Pujols can kind of mesh with young guys. I'm not sure. He has Dominican player. He's managed his Dominican team, so he kind of can mesh with those guys. But you have to get a manager that plays with the players on the, what I'm saying, that plays with the personnel in the dugout and on the field every single day. That's why it's working for Don Mattingly in the Phillies right now, because he's a veterans manager. Those guys know what they're doing.
And on the flip side of that, I think that's what's working in Washington. Blake Butera's got a bunch of young guys out there, and he's a very young. His background, not just him being young, but his background is one that works with a lot of young talent and development wise. He's got these guys playing hard, looking good. Let's take it all the way to the 10th inning. Welcome back to the podcast, all about April in the building. How are you holding up, April? What's been happening?
I'm feeling much better, y'all. I'm good. I know I took a little hiatus because y'all know I was down, but brand new episode of my podcast will be coming. I'm a little sad that the college season is over, but I'm excited of summer softball and, of course, all the baseball that's happening. And, of course, my Dodgers are winning because that's what we do.
The Dodgers are winning. We're going to talk about that because, again, I don't think that's that big of a surprise. Then who's sitting at the top of the National League? We'll talk about the American League as well, which I think is a massive, massive surprise. But you mentioned it since the last time we've gotten together. Shout out to the Oklahoma Sooners on the men's side. They won the NCAA Men's College World Series, and the Longhorns of the University of Texas, they won the College Softball World Series. I mean, just in both, I think both case scenarios, pretty dramatic, amazing tournaments. Very
Yeah,
exciting softball
very.
end. I would say equally as exciting on the baseball end. Um, since then, since that time, the transfer portal has been going absolutely crazy. It is the most kind of maddening, chaotic thing that takes place as soon as the college season is just over. And I'm not even talking about like as soon as the tournaments are like as soon as your season's over, you are
Monday.
announcing you're in the portal, then you're
Right.
signing a lot of players moving around. How do you, April, how do you keep up with that? Because it is like literally every day there's somebody announcing they're joining a new team.
I will say for people who are just tuning in, definitely if you're a softball fan, Softball America is fantastic to follow for anybody going into the softball portal. Also, Wow Softball, W.O.O.
Mm.
Softball, they're also really, really good at keeping you informed on where players are going because I had heard Issa Torres was probably leaving Florida State. There were
Yep.
rumblings. And so when she entered the portal, it was like, oh my gosh, it's really true. Her and Jaysani Beecham both entered the portal, and there were quite a few of the players who went in and they ended up going to like fantastic teams. Like Texas was like, yeah, we won and we're going back to back to back because they not only left, they picked up Issa Torres
Yep.
and they also picked up Sam Swan. So I'm like kind of going crazy. And for those of you who aren't into it, they also picked up Rick Freeman from Southeastern Louisiana University, the coach who beat LSU at LSU. So he is now the associate coach at Texas. They are making some very, very strong moves. If you are someone who likes baseball, of course, there's also Baseball America, but I really like, I think it's D1 baseball. They're really
D1
good to
baseball is very good. Yep.
follow for any of those transactions that are happening.
Yeah. Now, I mean, look, the thing that is not talked about enough is the amount of money that is changing hands here. So you're the ACC Player of the Year, Issa Torres at a school like Florida State in softball,
Mhm.
and you enter the transfer portal and you end up at the University of Texas. That is a big, big, big pay adjustment. Even though Florida State has a lot of money,
Ain't no Texas money though. God bless the truth.
they don't have Texas money. They don't have Texas money. So, and again, a school like Florida State will, I would say, allocate so much money for football as they all do. Texas does as well. But it seems like there's certain programs that will actually spend more money on college softball, college baseball,
Yes.
and they're just building these programs. You start to see it universally all over the place, and it's really interesting. I don't exactly know how I feel about it yet, but you're starting to see universities hire general managers. They're hiring general managers for
Yes.
baseball, softball, basketball, and football. So now you're hearing a guy that's whole job is to build the roster.
Hmm.
I know at schools like LSU, they announce how much money they have to build a roster. Like, so they're paying the coach this much money, they're paying the GM this much money, and they have a pool of millions of dollars to build rosters. And I think, you know, this is what the world's come to. So whether you like it or not, this is where we are, and it is going to continue that way. I think in college sports for the foreseeable future, no matter what committees they put together. This is it. So
Yeah, and also shout out to Texas Tech because they picked up some great players too. They actually picked up our pitcher, Jaden Heavener. Shout out to Mariah Polar. She was like probably the best hitter besides Issa Torres and all of college softball. She went to Tech. She left Purdue, went to Tech. So definitely want to follow her. And Jaysani Beecham left Florida State and she went to Tech as well. So
yep.
it's gonna be
And again,
really
it's
nice to
it's
see where it
financial.
happens.
Texas Tech has been doing it for a while. Obviously with Williams from Florida and Audrey Naja from
Hmm.
Stanford. They're paying a lot of money, and they will continue to pay a lot of money. And hopefully that money will pay off for them because they have gotten to 2 championships and lost them both. So with that said, let's switch gears and let's talk about basically 2 things. I want to talk about the
Mhm.
standings as the Major League Baseball season is kind of currently underway. But I'll start and we'll do it this way. we'll start by looking at the playoff brackets if the playoffs were to start today.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned this earlier this morning on Finish Your Breakfast. The National League is not really a surprise because if you
Mm-hmm.
look at the National League, you're looking at the Dodgers in first,
Okay.
the Brewers in second, and the Brewers just keep winning. They are
Mm-hmm.
somebody
Air
has to do
Force.
they have to do a case study on the Brewers because
Mm-hmm.
again, the players that they have, the way they just keep turning it over, it is really, really impressive. The Braves are back,
Braves are
100% back.
back. They're back.
They are sitting in third on top of the
There's-
NL East.
Don't do that, Flobo.
No, the Braves
Don't
are
Thank
do
you,
back,
that.
man.
Flobo. Thank you, Flobo.
Don't do that,
Look,
bro.
I'll get
The
through
Braves are
this.
back.
Look, I'll
The
get
Braves
through
are
this,
back,
and then
bro.
I'll let Flobo suck his teeth. But the Braves are
Mm-mm.
back.
The Braves are back. Trust me.
Get this, and this is where I think the shot comes in. The Philadelphia Phillies are sitting in the 4th seed right now in the playoffs. The playoffs started today. The 4th seed would be the Philadelphia Phillies. Based off of the start they had this season and what they did to Rob Thompson and the scapegoat change they made, this is a miracle. And it's before the All-Star break. They're sitting in 4th place. The Cubs are sitting in 5th place. The Padres are sitting in 6th place. And so before we switch to the American League, I'm going to start with you, Flobo, because you're sucking your teeth. Are you even surprised at all? Dodgers, Brewers, Braves, Phillies, Cubs, Padres. If the playoffs started today, is that even like a surprise to you?
Yeah, because I'm surprised the Padres are still in the conversation. I have
They
not seen
are.
a team. Granted, I know that's Rich coming from a Mets fan, right? But this team seems to me that they're working on just glue, duct tape, and prayers. Man, they're winning games left and right, but I don't see
Yep.
any depth. I don't see any repeatable, actionable winning things. So yeah, that's the biggest surprise on that list right there.
The Padres are one game out of the NL West against in the division versus the Dodgers. Now the Dodgers and Padres just played their series, right?
And we play
Uh,
again this weekend, 4 games.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Oof.
April, I know you watch the games. Let me ask you directly. Is there anything about the Padres that scared you as a Dodgers fan?
I'll say this: Walker Buehler pitched that first game, so I think I was a little proud to see him go like the 5 point whatever innings. So I
Mhm.
wasn't really offended by us losing that particular game. And then we won like what 15-3 the next game, and
15 to
then what
3.
happened?
They put it on them.
So, like I'm watching them right now. They're playing the Cubs, and a ball just went in the outfield, and didn't even look like they were like kind of hustling for the ball. So I'm just like, you know what you're getting with the Padres. You might get a good game, you might not. I don't know. I don't know what to say about them, to be completely honest. They don't scare me. I'll say that. They don't scare me. There are some teams where whenever I play them, like there's a factor that scares me. I know that there's this element where a lot of people want this newfound rivalry with them. I think that's the only factor where they tend to get a sense of excitement when they play us. But as far as when the game comes, I'm not scared to play the Padres. I think
And
that there's more
and
of a fear when I play other teams than them.
I must make a major correction before I go in. The Padres are not one game back behind the Dodgers. They're 10 games
Yeah,
back.
I was about to.
Yeah,
I
I
was
was
about to
about
say.
to say.
They're not. Yeah, they're not that close. The
Nice
Padres are
banana.
sitting at 43 and 39. Lou, have you looked at much about the Dodgers, the Padres, and then NL West? Of the group that you see in the West when we're talking about it, the Dodgers, the Brewers, the Braves, Cubs, Phillies, Padres. Is there something in there that surprises you?
No, there's not really any surprises with that top five there. I mean, like Flobo said, like the Padres and what April said, like the Padres just don't scare me, bro. Like they had a good start to the season. Like you said, they're kind of working on duct tape and glue and prayers right now. Like I don't know how they're still in the conversation. They don't really. I don't really see them making a deep playoff run, even if they do make it to the playoffs. I really don't see them making a deep playoff run at all. I know the Dodgers in the back of their mind, they go in with the mindset because they're veterans and they're a tight ship over there. They go in there and hey, listen, we have these guys' numbers, but let's not take them lightly. As always, probably when they're playing the Padres is a good rivalry right now, Padres and Dodgers. But yeah, I think a case study should be made with the Padres. Like,
Yes, I
how the
agree.
hell are they still not relevant? You know what I'm saying? Are they how are they
How do they
how
keep
are
doing
they
it?
having all these guys and having all the super? Obviously, Tatis does he have how many home runs does he have?
I think maybe two
And
or three now.
I think it's two.
3 or
Yeah,
4?
it's either 2 or 3. I think.
Yeah, so like and Manny Machado's struggling. Jackson,
190.
yeah, Manny Machado's not there. Tatis isn't there. Jackson Merrill's kind of been up and down. The pitching has been okay, but it's other than that, like it's just not a scary team, and it's not a team with a lot of depth. Like you said, with the Dodgers, man, they got a lot of depth. Will Smith goes down, rushing, you're in. Freeland, you're in.
Rushing's had his own.
We can have
He's
a
at his
whole
own. He's
conversation
at
about
his own
that.
problem.
What do you do,
He's at-
guys? What do you do?
What day? What day?
Dalton Rushing.
They got it.
I've
They
never
got. They
seen
talk.
Shohei looked like he cussed him out in English. That's how mad Shohei.
You just
Tatis
know
got
that.
3 home runs, by the
I
way.
don't need the interpreter for this.
No, exactly. But he learned his lesson. You don't do that, and he looks like that type of guy anyway to put that kind of energy out there. But yeah, for me, that those top 5 or those top 4 guys, Phillies, Cubs, Brewers, Dodgers, like that doesn't really surprise me. And like I said, the Braves are back. And just watching their games, Dubon being able to come off the bench and do what he does and plug in the left field, plug in the center field, plug in the shortstop, second base, wherever they need him, and him bringing that kind of veteran, he's a veteran now, bring that veteran presence off the bench and anywhere they need him. Dom's been having a great year. He's kind of slowed down a little bit, but he's been a nice piece for them. When Acuna comes back, hopefully he can stay healthy, man. I hated playing Ronald Acuna when I was with the Marlins, but I love watching him play. I respect his game. Ozzy Albies, whenever Riley gets going again, obviously Matt Olson, one of the best first basemen in the game. The Braves are back, in my opinion. And then the Phillies, they're going to figure it out. We'll see if they can finally get over the hump. These guys are getting older. We'll see. But yeah, those first 4 teams don't really surprise me.
Well, before I go any further, because I'm sure I will hear it. If not in the comments today, I will hear it in the comments tomorrow. If the playoffs had started at the beginning of today, it would have been the Padres. If we are at 9:30 Eastern time, I believe if the playoffs were to start now or tomorrow, it would actually be the Cardinals that are number 6 as they have moved ahead of the Padres by half a game now in that wild card arena. I will admit, even with Jordan Walker, Mason Wynn, and the crew over there, I have not, and the founders apparently of the Tarps Off movement, I have not watched that much. I have not watched that much Cardinals baseball this season.
You don't like the NL. You don't like the NL Central.
There's
True.
a lot.
You don't like it.
Hey, look, there's a lot I don't like. There's a lot I don't like.
You don't like the
But
NL Central.
I have not sat down and watched the Cardinals a lot outside of, obviously Jordan Walker at bats and some of the Mason Wynn plays and my boy, Victor Scott II, who's down in AAA right now.
Yeah.
But do we believe, Flobo boys, that the Cardinals are a more fitting team than the Padres when you talk about who's ultimately gonna be in the playoffs?
The Cardinals are not a team that excites me necessarily, but they look like a solid foundation, though. Like if the Cardinals were in the playoffs, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. If the Padres make it, I'm like, oh,
how'd they make it again?
Yeah, man. We're talking about We're talking about those day getaway games. We're talking about those unintentional doubleheaders. We're talking about how you can basically run the board when you go into tournament play. That's the most important thing, especially we're talking about teams who get hot late. The Cardinals can do that. Also, to the credit of them, the Reds too, even though their record doesn't really say that right now. So yeah, I think they'd be a more fitting spot had they were going to playoffs tomorrow morning or whatever.
I fear the Cardinals more than I fear the Padres. I will say that much.
Why is that?
And that says a lot. And that says a lot about the.
That does say a lot. Why is that, April? You're sitting
number-
at the top, looking down at us.
Well, first off, let me say this about the Padres because y'all know I don't like them, but I'm gonna give them their props. I think out of any team in MLB, and I've said this before, that they have pretty much all the elements to be that team.
Right.
We talk about ballpark experience, fan experience, food experience, even the player names. Like they have all of this, but it's like 1 + 1 just can't get to 2. Like we can't make it fit, and I just don't understand why or what it is where they can't make it work. For the Cardinals, historically, they have been a team where when it's time for them to put it together, they do. And even though, yes, they're not those other teams, I think that they have figured out how to be able to put it together, how to be able to win. So whenever they do get on the field, I know, like, as a team, like, we got to come with our A game because that's exactly what they're bringing. When the Padres get on the field, I don't know if they're bringing their A game, their C game, or their F game. But whenever the Cardinals get on that field, we know that they're coming with their best every time, even if they don't happen to get the W.
I cannot just. I mean, I can't disagree. I really do. I feel like, yeah, this is more about the Padres, I think, than it is the Cardinals, and I think we've all kind of expressed that. We're always trying to figure out like what is that little wrinkle in San Diego that like just doesn't get them to be that team that's like that team of destiny. And we've got an inside man over there, so one of these days we'll have to call Tony Gwynn Jr. again and find out exactly what's happening with the Padres. That's our guy.
And they have the best commentating crew. Like I told y'all, like I can listen to Dan Arthur and Tony Gwynn Jr. like every day.
Tony Gwynn Jr. like voicemails to be like, please don't ask me about the Padres. I do not know.
We're gonna ask him about it. I
love listening to them.
Hey, look. So as we go through again, those were the teams that are kind of sitting in the playoff picture. I briefly mentioned those scrappy Washington Nationals. I really like watching. I watched them a lot.
Highest scoring team in the league. What?
Yes.
And that bullpen, man. If look, the thing about the Nats had a lead against the Phillies, 3 ninth innings in a row, and wound up losing those games. All of them. And it was it's those are division games that are devastating losses. So if the Nats win those 3 games, this is a team that's 2 games out of the wild card. If they win those 3 games, the whole wild card picture changes in DC.
That's crazy to say.
We're talking about a National League that is, again, very good, much better than the American League we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
But they're also bunched together. So there's a Nationals team and there's a Marlins team that I would argue both the Nats and the Marlins are a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Feistier, scrappier.
Scrappy. That's what I was going to say.
Then I would say the Padres and the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And that I would love to see, if not both of them, one of them in the playoff picture as we move forward. I think that would be an amazing fight if the Nats and the Marlins got to fight it out for that last playoff spot. But I'm not sure. Can't say.
I think so. Like you said, the Marlins are the names on the scorecard don't scare you, don't stand out to you, but the numbers, you're like, Liam Hicks has over 50 RBIs and Xavier Edwards is breaking and hitting 4th, and Otto Lopez is going to make the All-Star team with the highest batting average in the league. Like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? So, and then pitching staff has been there. Max Myers finally figured it out, especially at home. Sandy's doing his thing. We'll see if they keep him at the deadline. Looks like they're going to be buyers at the deadline if they can keep it going. But they're just a scrappy team. Like you said, you saw them with the Mets. We saw them with the Mets last year, sending the Mets home last year. Like, that was – I kind of expected it, but I think at the same time – I kind of expected it. I ain't gonna lie to you.
You gotta say it out loud, though, man. Come on.
I said, hey, listen, we giving our takes. We're giving our hot takes. But I kind of expected it, just because the Mets were gonna Met at the end of the year and they couldn't really figure it out. But like I said, the Marlins, scrappy is the perfect word. They are just a scrappy team. They're gonna give you their A game, like April said. They're one of those teams that's gonna go out there and they're gonna give you their A game every single time. And they have the technology now. They have caught up with everybody. I visited their spring training. They have caught up with everybody technology-wise. They have their new facility now. They're treated like big leaguers. That's one thing when I visited. I'm like, man, you guys are like this is what a big league team. This is what a big league facility, food, recovery, everything. This is what it's supposed to look like. And now those guys feel like they are actual big leaguers. You know what I'm saying? On a big league field, big league, obviously not big league crowds. Well, we're still working on that down here. But as far as like the facilities, what they have access to, like it's all there, and they go out on the field and they prove it every night. So I'm scared I would be scared of the Marlins if I'm a hot team going, late in the season going to Miami. Hey man, hey, we need to strap it on. All right, we can't play. We can't mess around with the fish. You got young talent over there. They're scrappy. They're going to put the ball in play. They're going to do everything they need to do to win, like the Brewers, kind of. The Brewers have been there, done that, but they're that team that does everything right.
Let me ask this before we move over to the American League. If we're looking at the Cardinals, Padres, Marlins, Nationals, even the Pirates, as it stands right now, 2.5 games out of the wild card. The Diamondbacks are 3 games out of the wild card, so they're all kind of bundled up here. Who do you think should be the most aggressive when it comes to buying talent to get them over the hump? Do you think, like a team like the Nationals, it's easy to say, oh, let's package some of our prospects because we got a ton of them and get somebody that's going to help us hopefully try to get over the hump, maybe in the bullpen and pitching. However, you're the Nationals. You've got a lot of young assets, right? Like you may not want to come off of those. If you're the Marlins, do you feel like now with this roster is the team to be an aggressive buyer at the deadline to try to get over the hump? If you're looking at these kind of playoff teams, these quasi playoff teams, I will tell you this. I think the Phillies, the Cubs, I think they're set. I think the Brewers are set. I mean, Dodgers are definitely set. I think the
We're
Braves,
never set.
I think the Dodgers are set. I don't think the Dodgers make a big move at the deadline. I don't think the Braves make a big move at the deadline.
You never know with the Dodgers. You never know with the Dodgers.
Right.
Like, is there a team that you think should be the most aggressive in the National League to try to get over the hump, like a win now team?
Can we go back to the Nats because you mentioned them having a lot of prospects?
They do.
And I feel like, what are we doing? Are we just collecting points now? Are we trying to get extra credit? Like, when are we going to make a move to put them in a position where they don't just be competitive, they remain competitive? And so I would like to see them make a move that puts them in a place, because we know that the Nationals tend to be a good first half team where they are like a little bit over 500 or at 500. And then that second half after All-Star, they tend to sometimes fall off. Well, what happens if you do get a pitcher or someone that can help them over that hump where they can be competitive? Wasn't this the whole point of them getting rid of the GM and getting rid of the manager so that they can move forward?
Right? You know what? I think the reason they did what they did when they did it was so they could rebuild. I think they were tearing down the Rizzo, tearing down the Martinez, getting Paul Tabuni in, getting Blake Matera in, and I think this is a rebuild situation. However, like you were saying, talent wins out. What happens with young talent is exactly, April, I think what you explained, which is when they get to the second half and they're playing in games that are in, you're getting to the deeper part of that 162, that's when you start to see the younger guys struggle a little bit because the season's so long. Lewis, you've lived through this. When you get to the second half of the season going towards the playoffs, it's long. It's repetitive. If you're a rookie, I was interviewing George Lombard Jr., and he told me something that was just mind-blowing when I thought about it. He's literally 2 years away from playing like 25 games in high school. That's it. He was like, if we count playoffs, we count the season, like we played 25 games. And now he's expected to play 89, 90, 100, 111, 162. And Lord knows the playoffs, like a lot of these kids in the Nat system, are coming from, now and again, they're in the minors a couple years, but they are not used to playing at this level of intensity every day. And you're in a major league stadium every day. So I say all that to say, long story short is, I don't know if you're the Nats. If you're Paul Taboni, you look at the standings, look at the team, look at where you are, and I don't know if you say I'm ready to really empty some of our top prospects because we do have a lot of them, but I'm ready to come off those guys to get a closer and a starter. You know what I mean? Like I just don't know.
But the other piece of this is when you talk about them losing to the Phillies are, for me, we saw this not just this year but also last year. They lose close games. They're not losing games 15-3. Like they're losing games in extras, or they're losing games by 1 or 2 runs. So the Nats to me they're right there to be kind of that team. And I don't know if it's because I just really believe in them or because I watch them a
I
little
watch
bit
them a
more
lot.
than
Yeah,
other teams.
I
And
just think they're
I
ahead of
think
schedule.
it would be nice to see them make a move to give them some hope, because this team seems inspired to win. And while they are inspired to win, I think it's good for them to make it happen, for them to continue on, especially while you're watching like the Mets not be able to, sorry Flobo, not be able to cut it
Don't let the right man.
at this particular moment. Like we're winning now, right? Well, other teams, they're getting better. You have to get better with other teams too. And sometimes you have to pull the plug in order to be able to compete.
I think if you're the Nats, it has to be like that Padre, like a Mason Miller situation with the Padres. I think it has to be a player that not only is he going to help, he can't be like CC to the Brewers for the playoffs, right? It's got to be a guy that you might be able to sign for the next couple, or either under team control, or a guy that you might be able to sign for an extension for the next couple of years while you grow. Because again,
I get it.
The Nats are ahead of schedule.
Right.
I don't think you make this move right now or sell a lot of your assets for someone that's not going to be there.
I can see that
for a while in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, as an Orioles fan, I have seen this. Years of the Orioles trying to like rent pitching, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the guy's name? He's out for the Diamondbacks now. Burns, Corbin Burns.
Oh, Corbin Burns.
Right. Like I just you don't want to put the Nats in a Corbin Burns type situation where you get an ace for a season and then he's gone. He's just not going to resign. You know what I mean? Or I think we got Jack Flaherty. Didn't the Orioles get Jack Flaherty for a run? And it was like, didn't work out. You know what I mean? So I understand it. I don't know. Last thing I'll ask about this is because I know, Lou, you're kind of well-versed in the Marlins. Are the Marlins a team that would be ripe to be, let's make a move, let's get off some of our prospects, let's get a player in here that might be able to help us get over the hump?
Well, it's a matter of, are the Marlins looking to make a deep playoff run? Yeah, the goal is to make it to the playoffs, but like there's a difference between teams like the Dodgers, like the Phillies, like these different teams that are it's World Series or bust. Like I don't think for the Marlins it's necessarily World Series or bust. With them. So yeah, the goal
nor
is
with the Nats, nor with any.
No, it's not.
Yeah, nor with any of these
Phillies,
teams.
the Braves, the Brewers, and the Dodgers. Those are the only 4 that are World Series and bust in the National League.
I'd say Cubs are kind of on that.
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah, I just don't like.
Hate.
But for the Marlins, like,
I love that guy.
I think it's more of the situation with the Nats. Like, we need to get somebody that is that we're going to be able to control, right? We're going to be it's possibly an extension, even though the Marlins, we'll see with the new CBA, but even though the Marlins don't have a history of signing guys to extensions, Sandy's half their, if not 90% of their salary right now. So it's more of a fact of like, okay, are we trying to win the World Series? Are we just trying to get to the playoffs to prove to our fans that we're possibly a playoff team? Now, I think the Marlins can make it to the playoffs. Now, necessarily make a deep run. It's a lot of young guys. I wanted to mention the White Sox because you made a good point about these guys are fresh out of high school, some of them, and go back to the White Sox. So the White Sox can be able to keep up this run.
Well, we're gonna switch. We're gonna switch leagues. Then we're gonna switch.
No. I got it. I'm just saying, like, as far as like having the young, just the example of like having the
Right.
young players, and these surprise teams being able to keep that up in the dog days of summer after All-Star break, dog. Like after that, the end of July, you get into August, man. Whoo, it gets hot. A lot of games. You're getting 100 games. Like your body starts to wear down. Your mind starts to wear down. Your traveling starting to get on you. It starts to wear on you. So a lot of these young guys that are fresh out of high school haven't played more than, like you said, 25, 30 games, 35 games. Now you're playing 100 games in the big leagues, stadium, fifth deck, cameras, lights, camera action all day, every day. It gets tough. So we're gonna have to see as far the Nationals and Marlins, like these young teams in the NL that are making some shockwaves, if they're able to keep it going after the All-Star break.
I agree with you 100%.
Hard disagree, man. Look, if you want to ask me what team was to
I
go
agree with
forward,
you.
you're in the NL East. You're looking at the Phillies. And you're looking at the Braves. Your odds of you getting in that conversation is so slim. If I was a general manager,
they definitely got to make a move.
They don't. The one team that's on the cusp that should make a move that won't is Pittsburgh, because they're the ones that have an older roster going forward and about $20 million more on the payroll over the Marlins. They won't do that. But if I'm Miami, if I'm Washington, I'll see y'all in 27. We're trading upwards, y'all.
That's what I'm saying. It's not World Series or bust for those guys.
And one team we did leave off of this kind of World Series or bust thing is the Phillies. And the Phillies are a World Series or bust team. So the Phillies are definitely a World Series or bust team. I think the Braves, Brewers, Dodgers, but the Phillies are the team. They've already made a move, a sneaky good one at that. Speaking of the White Sox, they took Derek Hill off the White Sox, and I will tell you this. I will tell you this. As someone that's watching this closely, the Derek Hill move was a sneaky good move because he was playing really well for the White Sox. He was not playing in the everyday outfield rotation, but he was playing enough where he was making impacts. He got traded, I want to say, like a week before that, a week and a half before that, he had what I call the Derek Hill game, where he had like a robbery in the outfield and the game-winning home run. He was making things happen. The other thing that was really apparent to me, and you've already started to see it, there's a good chance that Derek Hill starts in center field the second half of the season to the end of the season. I am a big Justin Crawford fan. I like Justin Crawford. I think he brings a lot of tools to the table, but let's just call a spade a spade. He's not necessarily a threat to hit the ball often. And Derek Hill has come in, and you've already starting to see Derek Hill getting starts and Justin Crawford coming in and getting late game replacements in center field, or he's the fifth runner and he might stay in for defense. And I do think the Phillies believe in him. I think they believe in him enough where they're going to keep him up. They're not going to send him down. But I also think that Derek Hill might be the answer for them long term in the second half of that season if you watch it closely. That may not be enough. The Phillies on paper, they've got everything that you need. Zach Wheeler's come back. They've looked phenomenal. The pitching, obviously, Sanchez is amazing. Schwarber and Harper, Turner, these guys are crushing the ball. Now, poor Rob Thompson. Pour one out for Rob Thompson. But they are doing the things that they need to do to be a really, really good baseball team. And I think that Derek Hill move is a sneaky, sneaky good piece. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Black Baseball Mixtape Podcast. It is brought to you by our friends over at the Players Alliance. Minority Prospects, our guys. Numbers Game Scorecards. Make sure you check out Numbers Game Scorecard. Best way to score a game. They have their exclusive Black Baseball Mixtape scorecards. You can get them online with the access code Black Baseball Mixtape. Make sure you check out our guys. Let's jump over to the American League because I do find this, and Flobo is my favorite word, I do find this fascinating. Fascinating. If you look at the playoff picture as it stands today in the American League, and let's start by calling a spade a spade. The American League is bad. The American League is not good. The American League's overall stats are just not like they're just not good.
Abysmal.
I don't know what the stats are, but this is kind of top to bottom one of the worst American leagues we've had in modern history. I'm just being honest. But there's some surprises in the American League. One of those surprises sits at the very top of the leaderboard. Now, they sit at the top of the leaderboard because the Red Sox surprisingly swept the Yankees. So the Yankees have lost 4 games in a row in division. That moves the Tampa Bay Rays to a solo lead, not only in the American League East, but a solo lead in the American League overall standings at 48 and 33. They're 1 game ahead of the Yankees. So if the playoffs were today, you've got the Rays in, you've got the Yankees in, but guess what? Guess who you have right there?
White Sox.
Those upstart Chicago White
Shout out
Sox.
to the Pope.
Sox.
The south side of Chicago, the White Sox. You've got the Mariners at number 3. Yankees would be 4. The Cleveland Guardians and the Texas Rangers. I did not mention, April, those Houston Astros, but they're right there.
Wait, hold on. You didn't mention
yeah, because ticket prices came up again. Trust me, I know that the Astros are doing that.
Yes, the Astros. If you're looking at the wild card, because the wild cards are the same in the American League, but the Astros are a half a game out. The Athletics are a game and a half out. The Minnesota Twins and the Blue Jays are 2 games out. The Orioles are 3.5 games out. The whole league is only 7 games out of the wild card.
Can we also talk about how there's not one team in the AL West over 500? Not one.
Yes, the American League is bad. The American League is overall
told me
not
to
good.
believe in the Athletics. You said the Athletics, man, they're a good team this year. It's gonna be great.
Who said that?
I said I don't believe in the Athletics. Yo made fun of me on this very podcast.
We got to go back. We got to go back because I don't know if I said I
did say the Athletic. I did. I said it. Okay.
Stand on 10. Stand on 10, April. She said
season ain't over yet. Okay. They still have some exciting players and some exciting moments. The AL West.
Let me start with the top. Do you guys, Flobo boys, do you believe in the Tampa Bay Rays right now?
Absolutely. I don't usually, because my problem with the Rays was always that they're always a good first half team, and then when the trade deadline comes, everyone raids their shelves like Walmart. But now they've proven to everyone that they deserve to buy. That ownership needs to do that for their fans and that team to say, we believe in what you're doing.
How about you, April? Do you believe in the Rays?
I mean, I was the first one to bring it up, so I'm a ride with them for now. I was the first one to actually talk about it on the show that they were, performing well. So
I did one of those Bravo like flashbacks in time because I don't remember any of this.
No, we just need to have movie night like Love Island and then just play it on the side. But yes, I did. I let me say this. I like what Tampa Bay is doing. I think it's great for the league, and I hope that they're able to sustain it. That is where I'm going to go.
Why is the Tampa Bay Rays being great for the league?
Why not? I mean, we typically don't see.
They don't have a crowd.
I'm about to say.
AL East. Not say why it's not.
Let's talk about it. AL East typically does not. It's always Red Sox, Yankees. Lately, it's been Blue Jays. I think it's good for us to have that kind of parity where we see another team performing at the level that they are, especially a team from Florida. We want people to go to games. And the only way people will be attracted to, let me finish. The only way people will be inspired to go to games is to have a reason to go to them. And people want to go and spend their money on teams who are winning. And I say this all the time. I'll say this all the time. People don't want to feel like they're missing out on things. Right. So if you have the opportunity to be able to go and see a team who's performing well, because baseball is picking up traction, especially if you're on Threads, you see the community that's out there. So if they're going to be playing and continue to play that they are, I think for Tampa, what they've reformed their stadium, this is good for them to be able to have to continue winning. 100%. Why not?
100%.
Especially while
Flobo,
all these other teams are down.
Flobo, you agree with this madness? Go ahead.
I do, but not from the fan standpoint. You look at Major League Baseball and what they want to do as far as expansion, and you have to raise all ships of these other brands as well. The Yankees going to have the cachet; they're the global brand. The Red Sox are upside down, so they need a strong opponent, and those are the things you can use to justify for Team 31, 32. Those are the teams you put off to like the Mexico tours and the Japanese tours. The more teams you have in the division people care about, then that makes it great. When realignment happens, there's going to be some teams without dance partners. The Giants Dodgers rivalry is going to end, right? And the Florida rivalry may start when they put the Marlins and the Rays together. You need new people to be strong. This is actually good for the league long term.
Flobo is holding strong to this realignment. Like this is
it's happening, man.
He's like when realignment comes,
it's coming, man. Word to Manfred, it's coming.
It's coming.
Word to Manfred, it's coming. Here's the thing. I like the Rays. I like Chandler Simpson. I like Cedric Mullins. I like Richie Palacio, our guy. I like their players, man. Junior Caminero is amazing. He's absolutely amazing. I like the Rays as a team. I am not of the belief that the Rays winning is necessarily good for baseball.
Why not?
Why not?
I just don't. Look, I maybe part of it is because I'm a hater. I mean,
yes, that's a big part of it.
That's
a big part.
But the other part is I'm a huge Orioles fan. And if there was a team that I feel like, I mean, you saw what happened in Toronto last year. If there was a team that I felt like could really start to win, and you saw it, 2 years ago and 3 years ago when the Orioles were winning games, I felt like it changed the entire calculus of the community, the town, Baltimore. I'll never forget, I went to an afternoon Orioles game at the end of the season when they were about to make their playoff run, and I saw so many families, black families, selling out a stadium in the middle of the day in the summer. And I was like, this is amazing. Mm-hmm. I look at the Rays, no offense to anyone, and win or lose, it's like the town doesn't care. And the buzz isn't there. And I feel like a lot of times the Rays are winning in spite of the community as opposed to with, like, this is a good thing for baseball type thing. And here's the thing. I do think that this year is a little bit of an outlier because of the hurricane, because you were missing the Trop all of last year. The Trop comes back. They're still not doing, like, huge numbers. The governor of Florida, I will not mention his name, just had a press conference today trying to say, like, we hope the team doesn't move because they know it's not going well. Right. But I look at the AL East and those historic franchises, like you mentioned, the Yankees, the Red Sox, for lack of a better term, the Orioles and the Blue Jays. And I know the challenges that the Rays have. I love the fact that they're good. I just don't necessarily know if it's like good for the game.
So what is good for the game for you? Attendance? That's your pre-metric?
Attendance, energy, getting people to talk. The Rays are the number one team in the AL East. No one's talking about the Rays.
Yeah, but that's
no
what I'm
one's
saying.
Talking about the Rays.
But the reason why I'm saying that no one's talking about the Rays is earlier. They get good for a while and then they kind of dismantle the team, right? You look at teams that are fairly new. The Rockies versus the Diamondbacks, right? Start at the same time, but the Diamondbacks, to their credit or not, do get more people to their games and to their door. They ingrain themselves in the community with their short history of having championships. The Rockies have none, and people still go out in there and they support them two different ways. So you have either
nothing to do in Denver.
Either win your games or be the only thing in town. The Tampa Bay Rays can't be the only thing in town. If they have sustainable winning year after year, that gets people out. And I do comes back to this. This trade deadline is important in so many different ways. Does this front office care about building fans long term, or they're saying, "Hey, look, we're just here for the ride every year"? I think that's the big thing.
They're first place in the whole league. The question is, so you're saying you don't think they're good enough as constituted? They need to make a move?
I think they should buy. I do think it doesn't hurt to buy other parts.
It never hurts to buy other parts, especially in the playoffs, bro. You need depth.
Sure.
You need arms. You need depth.
Let me, and we just talked about this. In regards to kind of good for the game, not good for the game. And again, my hate is probably blinding some of this with the Rays. But let's switch to the team that I know a lot of us want to talk about, over there on the south side of Chicago, which is a team that is now winning, scrappy, upstarting, literally 2 years removed from the worst record in the history of Major League Baseball.
Correct.
And I would say the White Sox being good is good for baseball.
What's the
Like, there
difference,
are
though?
people talking about the Chicago and the South Side and Murakami and all of those
Go ahead,
guys
Lewis.
that they
Get
got
him,
over
Brinson.
there.
Get him. Get him.
It's not the same. You don't think that's the same?
Get him,
you know,
Brinson.
you don't think that argument holds true?
No.
No,
Why
because
not? So you don't think the White Sox being good is good for baseball?
No, I think it's great for baseball. I think the Tampa Bay Rays being good is good for baseball, and I think the White
Not
Sox
every
is good
team
for
can be
baseball.
good and good for baseball.
Yes.
The Brewers are good. I don't think
Yes.
Why?
the Brewers are good. I don't think it matters for the grand scheme of baseball.
Yes, it
It
does.
does. They're a small team
No.
with a
Yeah, but like
payroll
Go ahead,
person on their
MLB,
wing.
ahead.
MLB wants the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Red Sox and all these big market teams that have been around for hundreds and hundreds of years to be good because they generate the most money. But with the White Sox, the whole point of this new collective bargaining for MLB, I don't want to get too much into it, but the whole point of this is to make everybody on an equal playing field. So everybody is trying to make the playoffs. These teams are tanking on purpose, we say. So the whole point is to make everybody have a chance to at least have a chance to be a playoff team. So with the Rays being good, and yeah, they don't get a lot of fans. Yeah, it's a bunch of stuff to do in Miami too. Bunch of stuff to do besides going to a Marlins game. Bunch of stuff to do besides going to a Rays game in Tampa. And in Chicago, we're used to the Cubs being the big story. The North Side, the Cubs, Wrigley Field. It's amazing. It's baseball heaven. Whatever. It's great. I love Chicago and I love Wrigley Field. But just from the White Sox standpoint, they were the worst team ever. 2 years ago?
Yep.
So it's like, how the heck did they go from being the worst team ever? Now, baseball loves storylines. They went from being the worst team ever to now being a surprise team, an amazing team, a surprise team out of nowhere, seems like, with Colson and Murakami and Braden and all these other different guys and their pitching staff. Martin has been amazing. Amazing. So, like, you go back to, again, storylines. The Chicago White Sox were the worst team ever to put on a uniform 2 years ago. Now they have.
I think it's great for the game. We're
but
not saying anything different. I think it's great for the game.
Yeah, I think both are great for the game, though.
Yes.
I think both are great for the game. And let's not forget the Tampa Bay Rays are the most underrated team. They're always in the mix. They just never can get over the hump. They're always a good team. Yeah, they're never a terrible team.
They're not terrible.
No, they're not terrible. They're always a good team. They're not the best team
I will say this: they're extremely fun to watch. I enjoy watching because of the players that we mentioned,
and that's good for baseball.
A
team that's fun to watch.
I enjoy watching the Rays play. I don't hear people I don't see. I guess if you're trying to grow the game, if you will, I don't see the casuals say. I've heard more casual fans come up to me and talk about the White Sox going from worst to first, if you will.
That's a huge storyline. That's a huge
storyline, and it's a huge town, and it's a town not that far away from a World Series, right?
Yeah,
I mean it's far enough.
To have both Chicago teams good is amazing. Their rivalry would be great for baseball.
And we also have to talk about the White Sox culturally. Like I mentioned this before too. Like within our culture, the White Sox has always been that kind of team.
We agree. So, I think it's a bigger story. I think
going back to Tampa too, when we talk about what the league and these teams bringing, like we also, yes, we know that the league love and people love seeing like, oh, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Yankees or whatever. But we also know that we keep talking about, well, how can we improve the league? Why do we keep seeing the same teams over and over again? And when this actually happens, it's like we're pushing them to the side. Well, one of the ways to be able to make it better is for us. This is where the platform opens up for us to be able to talk about the Rays doing what they're doing and having the opportunity to be able to compete when other teams are having those down moments. That's why I think that this is good for baseball, because no, the Red Sox aren't having their moment right now. And yes, the American League is down, but look at what the Rays are doing. And I think that this is the perfect opportunity for us to be able to uplift them in this particular moment. So I love the fact that the Rays are doing good, even if it's just for the first half of the season. But it gives us something to look forward to rather than us talking about what's happening with the rest of the league. And I do compare it to what the White Sox are doing because yes, the White Sox have been down, but both of them are having great seasons, but for different reasons.
I think of, and I'm just even thinking about the playoffs last year, which I think categorically would say so was some of the best playoff baseball and buzz around
In a long time.
of a long time. The Mariners. I look at what the Mariners did last season and how, again, now they love their baseball in Seattle. They love the Mariners in Seattle. But Seattle's not a traditional winner all the time. And I thought that was fantastic. I thought it was fantastic. I thought the Blue Jays run was fantastic. Now they've got history from going back, 91, 92 is what we're talking about with the Blue Jays. I think, again, I enjoy watching the Rays. I love my guys on that team. They've got people that I personally know on that team that I really, really like. It's just one of those things where I just feel right now that it's just a little bit quieter. And maybe it is because of the storylines. Junior Caminero, who we'll talk about shortly, is having one of those seasons, or starting to put together one of those seasons that not quite Cal Riley like, especially the first half of last year. But I think that helped the Mariners, right? That the Cal Riley storyline throughout the entire year and the Mariners being good, I think really pushed that Mariners narrative, Mariners storyline. I guess maybe it's just harder right now to build a story around what the Rays is doing because it's kind of just so unlikely that they just keep winning the way that they're winning. And maybe that's it. Maybe we need more because again, all of us human beings like stories, right, Lou? They like the worst of first in Chicago. They like the storylines that make the game interesting. And I think maybe I don't know what the storyline with the Rays is right now. I don't know what draws people in because again, people aren't really coming that much. So I don't know what draws people in to the Rays story right now, even though they're a fantastic baseball team. They are a fantastic baseball team.
But the fact that they're go ahead, April. Go ahead.
What is the lady's name? She's a football commentator, and everybody loves her. I cannot think of her name. Asian lady.
Mina Kimes.
Yes. Yeah. Mina Kimes pushed the Seattle narrative big time last year too, because she is a huge Mariners fan, and when the Mariners would win, I mean, she was posting consistently. So when you talk about people who are also pushing those wins out there, there's a voice that has a very large audience who is also.
So you're saying the Rays need a super fan?
Yeah,
they need Flobo to champion the Rays.
Well, I mean, look, if you think about this is the science of sport, right? What makes a team relevant is threefold. Usually you have a face of the team, you have a storyline that's away from the actual scoreboard, and then you have a novelty thing for someone who doesn't understand. So take the New York Knicks, for example. Jalen Brunson took over the team. He became the face of the team. If you don't watch basketball, you think Jalen Brunson is the face of the team. The Knicks fandom on the streets, they became the storyline for those who don't watch basketball. You don't know a thing about basketball, but know everyone's going nuts with the Knicks. Then the super fandom. You got Jerry Seinfeld, Ben Stiller in the crowd. The White Sox, they signed Murakami for a steal, and the Pope likes them. That's your built-in story.
That's your storyline.
If you're Tampa Bay, the thing is, they won the games. They're doing the hard work. That's what's good for baseball, period, full stop. But if you want them to have their own campfire milkshake, or you want them to do tarps off, they can do that too. But right now, I'm telling you, they're winning. It's good for the team. It's good for the game.
Yeah, all right, and that's all they care about down in Tampa, honestly, bro. They don't care about none of that extra stuff. They're like, we're winning. I don't care about nothing else that has to go off the field.
You're talking about the team or the fans? Because, I mean, the team cares about winning, and they should. Yeah. The organization cares about winning. The fans don't seem to care about anything.
I'm talking about the team.
Okay, my bad. I'm just saying.
I'm Savage.
There's a lot of other stuff to do in Tampa besides going to the Rays game.
Let me ask you this, because I teased it. I'm gonna before we move on and talk about some other teams in the American League. We mentioned Junior Caminero. Junior Caminero is going into this podcast, going into tonight. He'd homered in 4 consecutive games. He homered in 7 7 home runs in the last 6 games. He is absolutely unreal. Cameron Arrow is batting .292. He's got 22 home runs, 49 RBIs. He is just an absolute stud at 22 years old. Junior Cameron Arrow was probably, when all said and done, when you go back and look at the World Baseball Classic, he was probably the most dangerous hitter for the tournament in the Team Dominican Republic. They all called him the water boy because he was so young, and he told Albert Pujols that he would be the water boy on the team just to make the roster. It's a really great story. However, you've got a team in the World Baseball Classic, Team Dominican Republic, who is that had Fernando Tatis, it had Juan Soto, it had Vladimir Guerrero, had Manny Machado, Junior Caminero, as we mentioned. Not to mention who else? Ketel Marte was on that team. I want to say maybe Perdomo. Anyway, this is my question. This is my question to the field. You've got a 5-year clock. You can pick one player from Team Dominican Republic. Do you pick Cameron Arrow or do you pick someone else to have on your roster for the next 5 years? I will start with you. I will start with you, Lewis Brinson.
I pick Cameron Arrow. I pick Cameron Arrow all day just because he is oblivious enough to, like a Manny Ramirez, like oblivious to what the hell is going on. Like, I don't care about nothing about who's pitching, what his ERA is, how many Cy Youngs he has, what his kids' names are, what his grandpa name is. I don't give a damn. He's in trouble. Like, you have him, Ronald Acuna, like, having that mindset, like, I could just tell. Like, he's just oblivious to everything else besides hitting this baseball as hard as I can. And he is like, he's like I said, he's an animal, bro. Watching him in the World Baseball Classic, just he feeds off energy as well. Obviously, there's not that much energy in Tampa, but he creates his own aura. He creates his own energy, man. There could be nobody playing in that stadium, and he would be still doing cartwheels around the bases and pointing up to the sky around every base. Like, he just creates his own energy. And I think if I'm building something, I'm getting him off rip. Like, Junior on my team, bro. You're immediately our energy, our spark plug, our power bat. He's hitting 290. I don't know what his on base percentage is, but he's getting on base more. He's not swinging out of the zone a lot. He knows he's also a smart hitter. Like, he's also learning these pitchers and like, all right, these guys ain't gonna pitch to me because I rake. He's also learning, like, they're gonna pitch around me sometimes. Like, that goes into account. So I'm taking Junior all day, bro. I love that kid. I love watching him hit.
Junior Caminero is 22 years old. April. So the real question, I believe, this is between: do you take Caminero? Do you take Vladdy? Do you take Soto? Vladdy Jr. and Soto are both 27. We're talking about 5 years. 5 years, 27 years old. You are in the absolute prime of your career. It is not. You are not old if you are 32 years old in Major League Baseball, especially if you are Juan Soto or Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So the question is: do you take 22-year-old Caminero to have for the next 5 years, or do you still believe? Because I will tell you now, a decision was made last year in both New York and Toronto that they were going to throw the bank at Soto and Vlad. And they'll throw the bank at Caminero when time comes. But you're looking at 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Mm-hmm. These are not unprime years. So who would you take off of Team DR? And do we even look? I mean, I'm assuming based off of the season he's having, Tatis may not be in this conversation, but Tatis is he also 27?
Also, no disrespect to Vladdy. Like, Vladdy is him having the greatest power year, but no disrespect to Vladdy.
They're all so Soto, Tatis, and Vladdy are all 27. Caminero is 22. Who would you take for the next 5 years?
I was actually gonna say Vladdy, me personally.
Yeah.
When you mentioned DR, when you mentioned DR, that was the first name that came to my head. And I think for me, it's more so what Vladdy has already shown me, and I think that what he's done is sustainable for 5 years. Now, if we saying 10, then we got a whole nother conversation. Unless you're Freddie Freeman or something, because he's still playing at an elite level right now. But for Vladdy, I think that what he's doing. Listen. Hush. But for Vladdy, what he's doing, not just offensively, but also defensively, like I trust him on both sides of the ball, and so that's who I would go with. That was
So
the first name that came off of my
one vote for Caminero, one vote for Vladdy Jr. Flobo, of the Team DR players, who do you take?
Gotta give it to my Tico that broke. Austin Wells. No, I'm just kidding. Junior Caminero, baby.
You going with Caminero?
I gotta go with Caminero, man.
He said Austin Wells.
And he's a third baseman too. It gives you a lot more flexibility too if you want to use him on the other side of the corner of the infield. If you want to put him first, I do think that at his age and his current salary, like you were saying earlier, Lewis, on base percentage 384, OPS at 932. I mean, it's a non-issue, man. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight. You're all ignoring. No, I'm just saying. I'm
gonna let you finish.
You're all ignoring. You're all ignoring Juan Soto. Juan Soto. Let me just tell you, for the record, it may. I mean, I know things don't look pretty in New York. I know that, Flobo. Trust me, I know. However, isn't Juan Soto coming off literally the best year he's ever had in his entire career last year?
Yes.
Correct.
We're talking about who you would take. Juan Soto, I think, is going. Yeah, Juan Soto, I think, is going to continue to be one of the greatest hitters we've ever seen for the rest of his career. Honestly, I don't think he's really going to skip a beat. He's just that smart, and his ability is there. Since he was 19, he broke in the league. I'm just stating the fact where Junior is younger, and to start, and for the next 5 years, are we starting a team around this player?
No, you have. This is the player you would want to have between the two of them for the next 5 years. So
yeah,
from
Junior
27, 28, 29, 30, 31. This contract is going to end when Juan Soto is 31 and Junior Caminero is 27.
Yeah, Junior. I mean, Juan Soto, like I just said, I just gave him his props. I just gave him his flowers. One of the best hitters we've ever seen.
It's no
one of the best hitters we've ever seen.
I'm also going with someone that, like, for me personally, you know, I like the body of work that I've seen from Vladdy in both the regular season and the postseason. And this isn't, you know, no shade to Juan Soto in any way. Like, I think he's a phenomenal player. But if we're talking about, like, who I'm putting the bat, like, whose hands I'm putting the bat in, and I'm trusting them to lead the way, like, I want Vladdy to do it.
I can't argue with any of these answers. You can't argue with any of these answers. I just look. I know. I mean, again, because I think you're right. I think we all, and we should be, are enamored with youth, right? 22 years old, doing what this guy did last year, doing what he did in the World Baseball Classic, doing what he's doing this year. He is proving to be the, you know, upper echelon of all of Major League Baseball. I am 100% in agreement with that when you talk about Caminero. I do extremely impressed with Vladdy Jr. Not only his offense, last year's playoff run, his defense was absolute A1 at first base. It was phenomenal to watch. And he was worth every penny of that, $500 million that he got plus. He's just fantastic. With that said, I do think there's a reason why Juan Soto got $715 million.
Yes.
And I just think, I know that we're all prisoners of the moment, which means the Mets are bad. There might be some chemistry issues with Lindor. He's kind of a weird guy. but I'm telling you, that dude can play, man. And I'm taking for the next 5 years. I still think he's gonna just be one of the top players, if not just a top hitter of the game. So I'm gonna still stick it out with Soto. I think so. He's a
lefty. I don't see why he wouldn't. He's lefty.
He comes through, man. He comes through a lot.
You can't really go wrong, honestly.
You can't go through a lot. That was a fun question.
You can't really go wrong.
I enjoyed that a lot. Let's before we switch gears completely, let's take a quick look again at the playoff picture in the American League, a very poor American League in that sense. And I'll ask you the same question we asked of the National League. If you are one of these teams, And again, I think this is a little bit different than the National League because the National League had so many established teams. But if you are the Rays, the Sox, any of these teams, the Yankees, Guardians, Mariners, Astros, Rangers, who's the team that has to be the most aggressive in acquiring a piece to try to get over the hump and win the World Series? Who's the team of these teams that's like, I gotta make a move?
Can I go first? Because I do have to hop off. I got
no,
get up early. I'm gonna say the Yankees because you better. You better win the World Series this year. At least it ain't making it. It ain't, getting to Game 7 in the CS. It ain't none of that. You better make a move to where it is significant to the pitching staff or the bullpen or address the issues at shortstop. Like, you better make a significant move. You better go get Scooble. You better go get somebody that maybe you're going to sign to a long-term deal because they will burn down the Yankee Stadium if they don't win this year. And for me, it's the Yankees. Like, they've been there. They've been at the end. Obviously, the game 6, was that Game 6 or Game 5? Game 6 meltdown 2 years ago. Like, they're not only the fans, but, of course, April remembers very vividly. But not only the fans, but like the organization, the front office, Boone. Like Boone, I feel like Boone's maybe on the chopping block for this year, even though I think he's kind of a puppet a little bit. But for me, it's got to be the Yankees. They have to go all in on some sort of move, some sort of pitching. Even though I think Garrett Cole is back, Schlittler's him. Will Warren, we'll see. Ryan Weathers, even though Ryan Weathers knows this, man, but Ryan Weathers, I love to see Ryan Weathers on the chart. I ain't gonna lie. William Wright, I had some nice at bats off of Ryan Weathers, but he's been doing his thing this year. But for me, like I said, man, they need to make a significant move because I don't know if they're going to sign Jazz next year. And at shortstop, third base, something. They got to do something. So for me, it's the Yankees.
All right. Well, Lou, my brother, we appreciate your time as well. We will
appreciate you guys.
For the look. Your content was so good tonight, Lou. We powered through the microphone.
No, I don't know what the issue was. I'm gonna have to figure out the issue.
Because you're fantastic, Lou. Thank you so much for being on, my brother.
Have a good rest of the show, guys. We'll talk later.
Man, we're about to wrap this up. Flobo, do you have a team that you think really needs to be aggressive in the American League to get over the hump?
Yankees are a good answer, but if I was a general manager for anyone else, it has to be Arlington. I mean, the AL West is wide open, and you don't have a window forever with this core you have, even despite the Simeon trade and all that. You got Jacob deGrom. He's like, 37? Like, it has to be now. You have to get someone to bolster the roster. I think Arlington needs to do something quick.
I agree with you. There as well. I think the Yankees are a really good answer. No one's hit my answer yet, but I think April might. April, who do you have?
Okay, tell me the teams again.
Just the American League. It seems like everybody in the American League is close.
I was like, all of them.
If you're the Angels, April,
everybody in the American League is close. If there's a team in the American League that you think needs a buy aggressively to get over the hump. Lou said the Yankees. Flobo said the Rangers. There are 2 teams that are on my radar, 3 on my radar, but they have not been mentioned yet.
I think I picked the Mariners before the season to win.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say Mariners because
they were one of the teams on my radar,
and I feel like they need to do something. Like, I watched them whenever they came to Houston, and there seemed to be some kind of spark. But with the Mariners, to me, it seems like they're missing something. I just don't know what the something is. They definitely don't have the little razzle dazzle that they had last year, but they need something to go. And I'll say, for personal purposes, I would like the A's to make a move because I want to be right about it.
You want to be right.
I want to be right. I want to be right.
All right.
I want to be right. So I'm gonna go with them too. But off the top, the Mariners need some kind of move to get them back to that over that hump?
I like your A's call. And I like your Mariners call. The Mariners call was a team that I thought about only because they were so close last year. They
Mhm.
like when you're that close, I feel like you got to go for it. The
Right.
thing is, they did go for it last year. Remember, they bought in Josh Naylor. They bought in
Mm-hmm.
Suarez. They lost Suarez to the Reds in free
Right.
agency at the end of the year, but they did go for it. And I thought they had one of the scariest lineups in the playoffs.
Didn't they lose Polanco too?
To the Mets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, no one said the Astros, and that's
I
who
wasn't.
the
I
Astros
wasn't.
are a half a game out. They're a half a game out of the wild card right now. And let me tell you something. They got Hunter Brown coming back looking pretty good. And I think obviously we talk about this every season, but Dana Brown and the squad over there are coaching and GMing for their lives. They're lame duck GM and lame duck manager operating without a contract extension. And I'm thinking you got to go for broke and you got to make a deep run in the playoffs in order to keep your jobs. And so I'm thinking because of that, the gloves are off. Dana Brown's got to figure out something to get some more production. I would say, especially out of the outfield in that team. And who knows? But like I said, with Hunter Brown coming back, he looks good. Um, you know, I'll be interested to see, who's buying, who's selling. But I would say the Astros, and I would say the Mariners, and possibly the Blue Jays. If the Blue Jays, they're not completely out of this thing, and if they want to recreate the magic from last year, I think they got to make a move.
But I think ultimately what we all mentioned was the AL West in general, because that whole division is just up for grabs. There isn't no one with a clearly defining lead
I'd say the Angels
there.
are out of it.
Well, you're right. My bad.
Yeah, they fired the GM too.
I think the Angels are
Yes,
done.
they are away from there.
Yeah.
But I do think that with the teams that we mentioned, if they made a significant move, that it could actually put them in a positive.
And also, not to belabor this point, because I think we've hit over this over and over again, and fully expect, as expected. And yes, April, I know you want to be right, but can I just say, athletics being good, not good for baseball.
Ooh,
Not
that's
good.
a hot take.
That's athletics being good right now. Not good for baseball.
It's a cool story though. This vagabond team without a
It's a
home.
horrible story.
This poor owner who totally hated his team so much they failed upward. That's kind of a cool story.
Look,
I think that I like
I
the players
love my guy,
more,
Butler.
and I think
hate
that team has
organization.
so much potential. Like, I mean, you just look at the lineup. It's hard not to root against them, despite the circumstances.
So,
that are
yes,
presented
it
to
is
them.
easy to root against them because their owner is horrible.
I'm not rooting for the owner. I'm rooting for
Yeah,
the
but I'm rooting for
players.
the owner, man. That's the case. No team is good.
Right. Yeah. There we go.
Players are out there, cheats.
Look, I'm just saying. I have a very soft spot in my heart for Lawrence Butler. I love the guy. I think he is phenomenal. I like Denzel Clark. I like the players. I like the players on the Athletics. I just, again, what that owner did to that city and that town. If there are people, shout out to my girl Felina, that love the Athletics and wish death upon this entire organization from top to bottom. And again, as like you said, if they do their thing and make it to the playoffs now, it's an interesting storyline. I wonder what that story is. Is that story the young, precocious Athletics making it to the playoffs, or is it the story of that? Is it Fisher ups the team, moves him to Sacramento in a AAA environment for 3 years while he's praying that Vegas works out? It's like all mess. It's a mess.
I can tell you that there are a lot of people who were out here who wanted to go to the Astros A's game to see the players. They weren't thinking about the owner, but they were excited to see the players who were coming here. So I think that's really why I'm rooting for them, because I do like what the players represent.
Yeah, and then maybe it's just me. I live in the Middle Atlantic. I live really close to like I live really close to 2 hours away from Washington. So I mean, I know what a bad owner does with the Commander situation, and I'm telling you now, people were like, "We're off this. There was until he sold the team." And now the Commanders have a new owner, and I can't even afford tickets. But there was a whole lot of we're off this because the owner is trash. And I get you. I mean, there are trash owners everywhere in every league and every most a lot of billionaires are. But that it's kind of crazy. It is an interesting storyline for people that care about baseball and care about cities like Oakland, what that owner did to that organization. And again, it's not the players' fault. Players are doing what they need to. They've got some phenomenal players. I'm just interested to see if that translates to a story that's good for the game, that the Athletics, in spite of their trash owner, you know. With that said,
shout out to the Knicks, man. Shout out to the Knicks. Yeah.
Shout out to who also have a trash owner. I'm a diehard Knicks fan.
I know.
Proven to be a complete trash individual.
Can't help himself.
So yeah, there you go. So there, look, April, I'll take it all back. You know what? If the Athletics win, because the Knicks, if anybody has a trash owner, the Knicks have a trash owner.
Yes, they do.
Let Oakley back in the garden. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have to wrap it here. Black Baseball Mixtape. I want to thank our partners again, the Players Alliance, Minority Prospects, Number Game Scorecards. I'd also like to give a disclaimer that anything I say about trash owners do not reflect on our partners. They love everyone. Every team that I said was bad for baseball right now, that is not a reflection of any of the people that support this show. It is just me, and I will be canceled sooner than later. But, I'll tell you who's not going to get canceled, and that is In the Booth, one of the illustrious, wonderful podcasts hosted by Flobo. Boys, what do you got, Flobo, coming in the booth?
I'm trying really hard to get invited to these Tampa Bay Ray games. No, I'm just kidding, man. In the booth, we got a couple great episodes. Got to go back to the catalog. New episodes coming out this Monday. Trying to get a little heart start right before the All-Star break, which you and I are going to be in Philadelphia, which will be a good time, making sure we cover that stuff too as well. So just keep out for the In the Booth with Flobo Boys on your favorite podcasting app.
Perfect. Make sure you do check out In the Booth and what's going on. I saw our girl over at the East West Classic. I saw Natalia. I know she's got a book coming out. I was able to take some photos. I met a lot of folks at the East West Classic this year. It was a very productive trip, even though I was hobbled a little bit with an injury. I couldn't walk around like I was supposed to. But yes, I saw a lot of our folks. What's going on in the booth? I mean, not in the booth. 10th inning. I'm sorry. 10th inning, April.
Well, now that I'm feeling better, I will have an episode coming out pretty soon covering all the things that I've missed. I know it's been a lot, but I want to make sure that I'm back there. And then I have a couple episodes in queue, so that will be coming up as well. But just make sure that you are locked in for some softball and baseball.
Very nice. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a lot going on. I really, really appreciate all of your support for In the Booth, 10th Inning Talk, Butterman Baseball. Shout out to our guy Malik, who just dropped his first article all about the money series. This one is Get Paid, Young Brother, Get Paid. Article 1, we talked about extensions in Major League Baseball. A lot of young players on rookie contract. One of them deserve to get extended. If you're talking about Xavier Edwards or Dylan Lyle or James Wood or CJ Abrams, they're all not extended. So we were talking about that in Article 1. Article 2, I want to say next week, or it might be at the end of this week. I mean, it is moving hot and heavy. Wonderful debate. Make sure you check that article out. It is on the Black Baseball Mixtape Substack right now, and you can subscribe for free and read that whole article. It's on there right now. A couple other things that are coming up that I'm really, really excited about. We're talking a lot about, we talked a little bit about the MLB Combine recently. A lot of talk about pipelines and getting your young player in the right system to be seen and scouted and accessed. There's a lot of talk about that, along with minority prospects and what they've got going on. Talked a lot about the combine. The MLB draft takes place during All-Star Week, so there's a lot going on in July. Flobo and I will be out in Philadelphia, so if you see us at the Swingman Classic, please stop us and say hello. Just a lot going on. So, ladies and gentlemen, we really, really appreciate all of your support. That's it. We will see you soon on the Black Baseball Mixtape podcast. We're out.
Bye, y'all.